Good morning, good morning. I just really love that song, so I let it play a little bit. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So excited to have you with us on this Wednesday morning. Although I have to say, apparently the air conditioning is out here.
No.
Right? We have this beautiful new space. We've been here almost a year. It'll be a year in July.
Yeah.
And there's no air this morning, so it's a little toasty in the studio.
Yeah, the last couple days have been warm, so it's been warming up.
Well, this is the time of year where you don't turn your air conditioning on when it's not hot, right?
Yeah.
So unless you're us, and so this is when things decide to break.
We've had a couple 90-degree days, and so this is you're right. This is the time of year. I mean, I think this week we had to replace an air conditioning a few years back in the springtime. First time we kicked it on and it didn't work, and we were like, no.
Speaking of which, we probably need to change a filter.
Well, thank you for reminding me.
We make it a point not to talk about the honey-do list while we are on the air. That would be part of the honey-do list.
Yes. Thank you. You've just spoiled my morning. Now I'm thinking about the list.
Now you're thinking about the list. Well, you found an article from Politico. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so breaking news. Looks like Paul Ryan has decided not to run for re-election. He is going to retire after this year.
What?
Paul Ryan, the Speaker of the House, is going to announce Wednesday that he's leaving. So he's calling his Republican colleagues into a morning meeting this morning to make that announcement. And he does not intend to leave Congress early. He's just going to retire at the end of this term.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
For a guy as young as he is, and a guy who's already run for Vice President of the United States on the ticket with Romney, 5 years ago, he's got all this upside. Everyone kind of looks at him as sort of the future of the party, maybe a future President of the United States. And so for a guy like that to chuck it all in and say, I'm walking away from it.
Maybe he doesn't want the president's legacy to be stuck to him.
Well, I think that's part of it. I think he's really struggling with being sort of in this vice of trying to be a real Republican and working with a president who's got ideas that really don't fit with what we think of as traditional Republicanism. The tariffs and the wall and all this sort of stuff that's suddenly become in vogue in the new Republican Party, and I don't know. I think Ryan is maybe making a savvy calculation here that says I'm better to get out of this firestorm before it gets worse, because it's going to get. It
is going to get worse. I mean, are we going to go to war with Syria? I mean, things are really getting, and let's be honest, a war with Syria isn't a war, or a war in Syria is not necessarily a war with Syria. We're talking about a war with Russia.
Yeah, it's a proxy. It's a proxy war for Russia, and could very easily turn into a full-scale war. And Iran is because of Trump's bluster, is now talking about, re-instigating parts of their nuclear program.
Oh, they were going to do that anyway.
No.
I know you're blaming that on Trump's bluster, but let's be honest. That blame belongs to President Obama, who gave them, so much money.
I get it. But, it's going to happen. If it happens on Trump's term, Trump gets the blame. That's the way politics works.
Yeah, but it's BS. This was set up by the former administration. And I understand what you're saying, and I'm not necessarily a supporter of Trump, but this is all about the Obama administration. Let's be honest. If it weren't for the Obama administration, Iran would have no money to restart their nuclear program.
Okay. I'm just saying Trump is doing things actively to undermine whatever fragile peace or calm that was going on there.
Okay. In Iran, the peace was a myth.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm just saying that Trump's done enough that history will judge him, not Obama, for this.
No, I'm sure you're right. It just makes me angry.
Yeah.
Because it was set up by the Obama administration.
And especially if Russia and the United States are going at it in Syria, trust me, all kinds of other craziness is going to kick off in the Middle East. It's just.
Well, I'm not arguing against that. I know you're right.
Yeah. It's just the whole thing is all interconnected, and Trump is lighting matches everywhere, and is going to act surprised when the fires start. Oh, did I do that?
He's Urkel.
He's Urkel.
He's the Urkel president. Did I do that?
It's funny.
Yeah, actually, you did, Mr. President. You did do that.
Yeah.
So, well, there are so many Republicans who have chosen not to run.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and Paul Ryan. I mean, the man's in his 40s, right? Or maybe
He's
50,
40s.
51. He's in his 40s.
Yeah.
So for him to be stepping down for the most powerful legislator, well, second most, I think the
He's third in line for the presidency.
exactly. Thank you. Third in line for the presidency, because the president of the Senate is the vice president. For him to step down at this point, he's just worried about the president's legacy.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that he sees this giant blue wave coming. He doesn't want to be out of power and be the minority leader, because I think that's going to happen. I think the Republicans are going to lose control of the House.
And we're going to have Nancy Pelosi back.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So things are going to get ugly, and he don't want to be there. And I get that.
Yeah, I get it too. It's yeah, what are you going to say? It's going to be a bloodbath, I think, in November.
Yes. Now, I know we got a lot of guests today, but the big story yesterday was, of course, Zuckerberg talking to the Senate, and everyone's lambasting these senators who asked really dumb questions, right? I think it was, one of them asked, how do you make your money if you don't charge? And Zuckerberg's like, we sell ads.
Yeah.
I mean, questions like that. It's
Yes.
like they had no clue. No, that was Orrin Hatch, by the way, who asked that question.
Well, he's older than dirt. But they also, I mean, let's be honest, we're the product. We are the product.
Yes.
And so the fact that there were groups that were data mining is not surprising.
Yes.
It's really not surprising.
Now the senator the questions that I liked was the Senator Graham's questions. He basically grilled Zuckerberg on this idea of them being a monopoly, right? And he asked him, so who's your biggest competitor? And Zuckerberg kind of deflects, we have lots of competitors. And Graham's like, well, who's your biggest? And Zuckerberg's like, well, I can think of categories. Do you want just one? I'm not sure I can give you one, but I can give you a bunch. And he, he's really trying to dance around this thing because they are absolutely a monopoly. And so Graham's like, keeps pushing him, and he's talking, well, there's 3 different categories of social media, and Graham's like, no, who provides the same service that you provide? And the reality is that nobody does.
Yeah, but that's not because they've pushed other people out necessarily. It just means that we're all there.
They bought the closest one to them was Instagram,
and they
bought it up, and this has been their thing, and so they're a monopoly. This is a monopoly.
Okay, but it's
and
you make him sound like he's this evil corporate raider.
No. But the point that Graham was trying to make is that you don't need government regulation when you have healthy competition in the marketplace, because the competition sort of keeps you honest. You do something crappy, the competition will take your business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the challenge is that as Facebook does sort of these things with the losing the data and all these data breaches and treats people poorly, they would normally, in a traditional business model, switch over to some other platform and say, well, forget these guys, I'm out of here. But there is no other place to go, where they can get the same benefits. And so that's why I think you're going to see some level of federal regulation of Facebook, because it is, in fact, a type of monopoly.
Well, I think that you're seeing people tune out of Facebook. The challenge is there's still 1 billion people on Facebook, or 900 million and change. And so, for advertisers, if you want to get to the largest number of people, it's still Facebook.
Yeah.
I know that young people use Snapchat and they're more likely to use Instagram, but Instagram is still Facebook, as you mentioned.
It is, yeah.
And so it's still the best place to advertise what you're doing.
Yep. The other person I thought that gave good questions was Ted Cruz from Texas. And he asked about the political bias of Facebook and how they had blocked a variety of different sort of conservative news outlets. And bringing up the one that's sort of been all over my feed this last week was how they barred Diamond and Silk from their platform, deeming their content unsafe to the community.
Unsafe, my eye.
Diamond and Silk, unsafe.
Okay, so people who don't know who Diamond and Silk are, there are 2 African-American women who are pro-Trump.
Yes.
And so they've made a series of videos that are pro-Trump, and they're on Facebook.
Yeah,
and they're on, I think, YouTube as well.
And I find them funny and a little bit rude, but generally harmless. I mean, it's they're expressing an opinion, and I don't think that it's an opinion that's anywhere so far out of the mainstream or dangerous in any way, shape, or form. It's just an opinion, and the fact that they would get barred definitely speaks to a political bias.
They certainly aren't any more inflammatory than Occupy Democrats, and I see them everywhere.
Yeah. Now, if there was another platform, right, then conservatives could migrate to a platform that was more favorable to them. Where's the Fox News of Facebook?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So with that, it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we will be right back.
This segment of programming sponsored by Cybertime Network Communications. How's your internet? Slower than what you were paying for? Feeling boxed in with the high cost of the internet? It can be frustrating and expensive, and with net neutrality coming, it's not getting any easier. Ready for a better high-speed internet service? Then you're ready for Cybertime. And they're local and right in your own backyard. Cybertime provides connectivity for all our transmissions you're listening to at KCAA. Cybertime is locally owned and will respond to your needs with the best service. It's crisp, cool, fast, and sleek. Cybertime uses the latest, leading-edge microwave technology to be able to offer clients a safe, reliable, public or private network that fits almost any budget size. Numerous local city agencies rely on Cybertime's microwave private network for their most critical mission applications. You should too. Get connected, stay connected, get smart, get Cybertime. You can Google, text, or call Cybertime Network Communications at 909-795-9559. Cybertime Network Communications in Calamasa.
For several days, you've been craving a juicy, tender steak. So, it's time to satisfy that craving at Tony's Spunky Steer Restaurant. Tony's is located in the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands. At Tony's, you'll have top-notch service and feast on some of the best-tasting prime sizzler steaks in the Inland Empire. The Tri-City Center is located just off I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Make Tony's Spunky Steer your dining destination for that special occasion. Or if you just want a great steak.
Know your rights and responsibilities. You're a hardworking student. You've grown up here. You're striving and working towards the American dream. You're a dreamer and maybe you need to renew your DACA deferral. Now is the time to take action. On January 9th, the District Court ordered a halt to President Trump's efforts to terminate the deferred action for childhood arrivals or DACA. And now the Department of Homeland Security is now accepting DACA renewal applications. Now you can get free DACA renewal assistance from the TODEC Legal Center. The TODEC Center may also provide you with payment assistance with up to $495 in immigration fees to renew. Stay here, stay home, stay with your family. You're valued, loved, wanted, and needed. Get free legal screening and consultation, application assistance, and legal representation. For more info, search todec.org. That's TODEC.org. Or call for upcoming workshops at 951-943-1955. That's 951-943-1955 for the TODEC Legal Center. And dream on.
Homelessness, it's not going away. And you can help. And you can help make a difference locally, right here.
I'm Mary Winter with the Faces of Yucaipa, a homeless advocacy and services Facebook group. It's easy, nothing is complicated. Help as much or as little as you want, but you can help by becoming educated and involved yourself.
It's simple. Check out Faces of Yucaipa on Facebook. Or contact Mary Winter at SamaritanProjectForChange@gmail.com. That's the number 4, SamaritanProjectForChange@gmail.com.
There's lots of little small things you can do to make a big difference.
Contact us here at KCAAradio.com and we'll help you. You can help others in your local community and right here in the Inland Empire. This message from the KCAA Community Calendar.
Hi, this is Sal Tuzzolino, host and ringmaster of the Sports Circus, the big top of sports talk radio. Did you hear this?
They filled a swimming pool full of Jell-O. And people could pay to watch Gary and I dive into this pool of Jell-O. And he and I raised $100,000 doing that.
That's hilarious. Clown around with us and stream the show online at thesportcircus.com.
Join us on 1050 AM, 106.5, and 102.3 FM. Saturday mornings at 8 on the trifecta of Talkin' Sports, KCAA.
KCAA, where every day is a great day.
My motor run,
Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are On the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. Want to remind everyone all the ways they can listen to KCAA. You can listen to us on, obviously, on those 3 stations that I just mentioned. Also at KCAAradio.com. You can listen with the TuneIn app. Many of our shows are also on iHeart, including this one. And you can download the podcast on KCAAradio.com or set up iTunes to download the podcast. So, you can take us with you wherever you go. You can follow us on social media. The radio station's social media is Facebook. Facebook is facebook.com/KCAA Radio. On Twitter, we are KCAA AM 1050. For our show on Facebook, we are KCAA Morning Show, facebook.com/KCAA Morning Show. I'm Erin Hunt Brinker on Facebook, at Erin Songbird on Twitter, and Erin Brinker on Instagram. And he's Tobin Brinker on everything.
That's right. I'm Tobin Brinker.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
This morning, I had such a hard time waking up.
I think we both did. It's just like, a Wednesday. Is the weekend here yet?
I know. It's just one of those weeks.
Yes.
I went to the vigil last night for the North Park shooting victims, and it was really beautiful.
Yeah, I wish I could have gone with you. And we talked about it on the air yesterday. It's the 1-year anniversary of the North Park shooting. But it's an issue that's still so relevant in our society today, and I'm glad that they did something to commemorate the people who passed and to talk about the issues that are plaguing our society today.
So I'm excited to welcome to the show John Schwartz. He and his wife, Jeannie, are pre-retirement workers of an economic class well above the poverty line, but well below the 1%. Schwartz wrote, "This is the year I put my financial life in order." For people like them, and let's face it, most of us are a little money phobic. And you think about, we're in that middle age, right? Our kids are both getting married,
yes.
And we're thinking more about retirement than college because that's behind us. And so, what do you do with your financial life? John Schwartz, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, how do you get your financial life in order?
Well, I made it a project. I set out a year. It took me a little more than a year, but I set out a year to see where I stood, starting with assets in retirement. What do I have? I'm lucky enough to have started a 401k in my 20s, which I think everybody should do. 401k, IRA. I had a savings plan. I've been putting money into it. I didn't know whether it was enough. What is enough? So I had to figure that out. I had to study up on those things. I'm lucky enough to work for a corporation that still has a pretty well-funded pension plan. Well, is that enough? And then what about Social Security? So working through the math, filling out one of those online forms. I worked with Vanguard, so they have online forms that help you assess whether you're going to have enough money in retirement. And it was work, especially since I am a little money phobic. I don't like thinking about these things. I'd successfully avoided confronting these issues for decades. But in your late 50s, and I was in my mid to late 50s at the time, I said, at least I've got time to address some of these things if I'm off track. I can up my savings. I can do other things. And so I wanted to tackle it before it was too late. And I then went through and studied up on personal finance books and looked at my life insurance and finally got a will, which I'd been avoiding forever, and just sort of worked through the issues of my financial health.
So my husband and co-host Tobin Brinker is also a teacher, and so in California we have the California Teachers Retirement System, and of course we've been paying into that since he started teaching more than 20 years ago. But now we're worried. Well, what if it's not there? And this is a big chunk of our plans. How do you hedge against that kind of thing?
Well, it's always good to save as much as you can against retirement. Although we have all these other competing things. College costs, you're talking about your kids getting married. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But, that's expensive.
It is.
It's really expensive. And so life gets in the way of these plans. It's still important to do as much as you can and as early as you can and to make up for it if you're late in the game.
And so that means just putting every dime away that you possibly can.
If you can, yeah, and to check on the other elements of your retirement. Know what the pension is going to provide. Look at your 401k or IRA and know what that's going to provide. And look to Social Security as well.
So what about young people who graduate from college just drowning in debt?
Well, it's horrifying, and it's a whole generation or more at this point of people trying to walk around with leg irons on. Paying off those debts is a huge priority, and and the government will come after you, or your lender will come after you if you don't. At the same time, starting a 401k or an IRA doesn't mean putting away 10% of your income right away. When I started mine, it was after I got a raise of more than 10%, and it was a lucky break, and I used it. I took that 10%, and before I even saw it, I put it into my 401k. So it wasn't money I'd ever missed. You can do this as a young person. You can start an IRA or 401k with 1% of your income, and it'll be automatically withdrawn from your paycheck. 1% won't even tickle if you put it aside, and then forget about it. You can set it to bump up by 1% a year, and if you do that, then you can start building your funds relatively painlessly.
So one of the ways that Americans have typically saved for retirement is in their house. And that you buy a house when you're young, and some people stay in it. We've been in the same house for 20 years, and then by the time you retire, it's paid off. You can sell it or stay there or whatever you want to do. But for a young person who, especially in California, buying a house, it just seems like it will never happen. What do they do? Do they have to move?
Especially, as you said, if you're already dealing with college debt, then making that mortgage nut is an incredible burden. It's hard to see how a lot of people are going to do it. The house is a great way to save, but houses can also ruin you. We just went through a financial crisis in the mid-2000s that wiped out a lot of people's assets completely. So it's not automatic that, you can go wrong in real estate.
Yes, you
can.
can.
I talk in the book about the fact that we went wrong in real estate. The first place we bought, we lost.
Oh.
And so, in the process, lost all our savings too. So I don't recommend that people get a house at all costs. It's important to get the right place affordably, and with a knowledge of what the risks are. At the same time, if you can't make that house, if you can't get a house at that age, then savings are your best way to build toward retirement. If you put your money into, as I recommend in This is the Year I Put My Financial Life in Order, if you put money into, say, an index stock fund early on, it's going to rise with the market, the fees are going to be low, and that's your best growing asset over those decades of earnings.
So we are about out of time. Do you have social media? How do people find you and follow you?
Well, I've got a Twitter account, which is JSWATZ, JSWATZ, in which I talk a lot about the stuff I write about for the Times and my stupid jokes and shameless self-promotion on the book. So, who wouldn't want all that? There's also a Facebook page for the book. If you go to Facebook and type in "This is the Year Schwartz," you'll find information about the book and appearances and stuff like that. And then the best thing to do is just buy the book.
Awesome. Well, John Schwartz, everybody needs to get this book because everybody needs to make sure their financial house is in order. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we will be right back.
Loma Linda, 1050 KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, K292 FQ Riverside, and K293 CF Moreno Valley.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carter. Strong words from President Trump after a Russian diplomat claims any U.S. missiles fired at Syria will be shot down and their launch sites targeted. NBC's Bill Neely has more on what the president's been up to on Twitter this morning.
This is an extraordinary tweet from President Trump, from any president, not just signaling his intent, but signaling weapons and directly threatening Russia.
Trump tweeted that if Russia plans to shoot down missiles, they need to get ready. He said they will be coming nice and new and smart. You shouldn't be partners with a gas-killing animal who kills his people and enjoys it. A new report says the president might fire his deputy attorney general because of the Russia probe. CNN says Trump wants to fire Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who's overseeing the federal investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Lisa Carter, NBC News Radio.
And now, Inland Empire Today.
It's time for traffic on KCAA. I'm Erin Brinker. In Temecula on the 15 southbound before the 79 South Temecula Parkway, there's an accident in the left lane and it's blocked. Traffic is stopped from the 215. In Pomona on the 60 westbound before Ramona Avenue, a wreck is now in the center divider. There's some stop-and-go traffic backed up from Euclid. And in Fontana on the 10 eastbound at Citrus, the on-ramp is closed until 6 a.m. on April 23rd. This has been your traffic on KCAA. We are the stations that leave no listener behind. I'm Erin Brinker.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Alvin Washington. Sunny, warm, and windy today, a high of 82. Increasing clouds and windy later this evening, low 52. Could see a stray shower across greater San Bernardino on Thursday, high 68. Clear Thursday night, low 48. Sunny 77 on Friday. I'm Alvin Washington, broadcasting live from the Tri-City Center at the 10 and 210 freeways. We are the trifecta of talk in Southern California. KCAA 102.3 FM Riverside, 106.5 FM Redlands, and the Legacy 1050 AM Loma Linda, San Bernardino.
Hi, everybody. Ray Lucia here with some important information about debt, your debt. Whether you have a first or second mortgage, you're looking to buy or refi a home or rental property, or just need to consolidate your credit cards to lower your payments and save some serious interest, you need to do some loan financial planning with Steve Alladort, my mortgage man, at loanfinancialplanner.com. Now, Steve's not your garden variety mortgage broker. He actually spends time evaluating how you can use the current super competitive interest rates to pay off your mortgage early. Purchase a rental property, improve your cash flow, upgrade to your dream home, or even help your kids or grandkids get into a house. That's what loan financial planning is all about. Steve's been helping me and my listeners for over 2 decades, and I can tell you he is the best finance guy in the business. Go to loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Or call Steve Alladort at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070.
Broadcasting more local radio programs than any other station in California. We are KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker. And he's Tobin Brinker.
And I am Tobin Brinker.
And we are on The Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. So glad to welcome back to the show Dr. Joanne Yanez. She's the Executive Director for the Association of Accredited Naturopathic Medical Colleges. That's the AANMC. And she weaves a passion for illness prevention into her professional life. Dr. Yanez's career has spanned advocacy, academia, patient care, and public health. As AANMC's executive director, she oversees research, advocacy, and other efforts, and the joint academic endeavors of the accredited colleges of naturopathic medicine. Additionally, she helps spread awareness of naturopathic medicine as a viable and satisfying career path. Dr. Yanez, welcome to the show.
Good morning, folks. How are you both?
Doing great. You all have a blog every month. There's a different article on there, and this month it's really all about your heart.
It is. We're putting out so many different blog posts, and so this month we are talking about heart health and how to keep your heart healthy, and more so how to really live in a way that honors your body and practices prevention. So we try to practice what we preach here at the AANMC, and this morning I got on the dreaded, what do they call that machine? It's the the stairs that keep rotating and kill you.
The Stairmaster?
Well, no, it's not the Stairmaster. It's the rotating stair one.
I don't know what that one's called. It sounds evil.
It is awesome. It's a good evil.
So, yeah, I'm sure that was a workout.
It was. And, I think in the spirit of heart health, our article really talks about all of the different things that it takes to keep your cardiovascular system and your body in general healthy. And so from a naturopathic perspective, that incorporates nutrition, it incorporates stress and your mental health, and it incorporates, of course, exercise and keeping those blood vessels pumping.
So we all know that eating healthy is important, but the messages that and we've talked about this before, but the messages that we're getting from advertisers, et cetera, they're so conflicting. Or even just articles: you should eat paleo, you should be vegan, you should be vegetarian, you should do the South Beach diet or the Mediterranean diet, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's confusing.
It is really confusing, and every person is an individual. I think when it comes to cardiovascular health, the diet that has been researched the most is the Mediterranean diet. But in general, the things that are going to be good for your heart, and diet is specific. It's going to vary based on a person's energy level or their exercise level and their age and other health conditions that are going on. So there's no one-size-fits-all diet, and I think that's where a lot of the diet trends and fads get me, is that they often will push this one diet as the best way for everyone. And, I've never really seen in my years of clinical practice as well, just personally, that there is going to be one diet that is going to be perfect for every single person. There's usually going to be some sort of tailoring that's going to have to happen. However, that said, the Mediterranean diet has been researched the most for cardiovascular disease and death prevention. And really, when you think of what is the Mediterranean diet, it's very high in high-fat, good fat seafood, things like olive oil and olives, lots of vegetables, some whole grains in moderation, and a little bit of wine in moderation as well. And so when we look at those types of things, really what you're talking about is a diet that's rich in antioxidants, rich in whole foods and good fat and fiber. And at the end of the day, you're not going to really go wrong with something along those lines.
Indeed. Now let's talk about fats that aren't necessarily good, and those are trans fats. How do you avoid those in your diet?
You read labels. So I have always been a big proponent of reading things. Since I was a little girl and started to read, my mom got me starting reading labels. And so, I would go in the grocery store with her and I would read the box. And, I think so many people skip that very important step and just throw the stuff into their cart without looking at what's inside. I've given lectures at universities across the country on how to read labels. And I think that it is a vital skill, as is cooking, and knowing how to prepare foods in a healthy and tasty way that folks really need as a starting point for good health. So, number one, read your labels. Take a look at what's in there. Really, you should have 5 things or less in your if you're if you're buying something. You want to see whole foods. You don't want to see things like processed or modified or any of those adjectives that would indicate something has been processed. So if there's meat in there, you want to see meat, chicken, fish, dairy. There are lots of ways on ingredient labels that folks can hide, processed foods as well. So, there are so many different ways that they add sugar dehydrated cane syrup is one way, and that's just sugar.
Dehydrated
so, I think it's
cane
really
syrup.
just reading those labels, Aaron.
My goodness. And I'm laughing because the verbal gymnastics that they use to hide what they're feeding you is incredible.
There's a lot of gymnastics that happens, yes. and that's why I think, folks need to be an educated consumer and just know what you're putting in your body. If you don't understand it, Google it, or if you don't understand it, just put it back. I think that when I've talked to people about grocery shopping is to shop the perimeters of the grocery store and shop your farmers market. You're going to get the freshest produce at your local farmers market. It may be less expensive because you're buying seasonally. If you can have a small garden, that's a wonderful option for some people as well. And so I think, there are options for really keeping your produce as whole and as unprocessed as possible.
So let's talk about salt. Tobin is on a low salt diet. For him, salt is he really can't have it.
It's prohibidabado.
It's exactly. And so, but for me, I love salt. I had soy sauce on some rice noodles yesterday. So what is too much salt?
This is controversial as well. There are various camps out there on salt. To salt or not to salt, that is the question, folks. And, I think that the conventional advice of watching your sodium intake has had some benefits for some people who are salt sensitive, but there are other folks who actually may be low salt. The other piece of things is salt in this country has been very processed. If you think of your white table salt, it is processed salt, it's iodized, it's maybe bleached, and that is, if you are going to use salt on your food, I would highly recommend having a more natural source for that sodium.
So like sea salt.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that we have been on a journey the last several years is using spices that we hadn't used before. And we found that we don't, because Tobin's been on this low salt diet, and we found that if you use all kinds of spices, you really don't need as much salt.
No, you don't. And, I come from a tradition of Cuban cooking where every single dish that you started, they called it the Holy Trinity of food. It was onions and peppers. and
Yum.
And so you thought it's delicious. Yeah, you sauteed that and you sauteed it with some herbs, some parsley, cilantro, basil, etc. And that was the base for everything that was cooked in my house. And so, maybe you would add some salt at the end to round the flavors out, but it wasn't the main delivery point for flavor in the meal. And so, I think that getting into that spice cabinet, grabbing some seasonings that maybe you aren't familiar with, learning how to cook with them is a wonderful way for adding seasoning and also adding antioxidants. There are nutritional benefits to many of the culinary herbs that are found in, that can be found in your cabinet.
So another thing that we've heard conflicting reports about is whether you should drink alcohol. You read reports that drinking a glass of red wine in the evening is good for your heart, and then you read reports that that alcohol is problematic, and especially if you're trying to lose weight, you should avoid it. What are your thoughts?
That is also going to be one of those individual things. Alcohol is obviously addictive and can lead to many health issues for many people. I've seen patients on the tail end of decades of alcoholism, and it's not pretty, and what it does to the family as well. So, I think that alcohol is one of those things that there are some health benefits from moderate red wine use that has been indicated, and that's predominantly from the flavonols, the antioxidants that are present. And what I think, though, is that, on a very moderate basis, a little bit of wine can be fine. But again, that boils down to the individual and what they consider moderate.
A 6-pack of beer every night is not moderate.
No.
So we are about out of time. How do people find this article, find out more about you, and follow you on social media?
You know, today, right now, actually, we are on our virtual fair. So if you log on to the aanmc.org events calendar, all of the schools have representatives on today talking and chatting live.
Oh, how fun.
So if folks want to reach out to us, that is an awesome way. So just go to aanmc.org, and you can hit us up online, and today you can talk to us live.
Wonderful. Well, Dr. Joanne Yanez, it's always a delight to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you as well, folks. Have a great day.
You too. So it's time for a break. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we'll be right back.
This is Scientific American's 60-Second Science. I'm Christopher Intagliata. During the last ice age, the northern half of North America was blanketed by ice. But along the Pacific coast of Canada, some land remained bare. It was a place where animals and plants could thrive, and humans too. Archaeologists have found stone tools and cave sites 12 to 13,000 years old in the coastal Pacific Northwest. One find was a mastodon rib with a bony weapon in it. And now scientists at the Hakai Institute and the University of Victoria have made a spectacular discovery: clay soil trampled by human feet, the oldest footprints uncovered in North America. Researchers were digging several feet below a modern-day beach on British Columbia's Calvert Island, about 250 miles northwest of Vancouver, when they discovered the tracks. They found 29 in all. Some had toes, arches, and heel prints, indicating the people who left them were probably barefoot. And using a shoe-size measurement chart, similar to the kind you find in a shoe store, they determined that the footprints likely belonged to a child and 2 adults, who lived and walked the area some 13,000 years ago. The results are in the journal PLOS ONE. The tracks are not in a line, like the famous Latoli footprints in Tanzania. Instead, they're facing different directions, suggestive of people gathering. Or perhaps, the author's right, they could be the footprints of people getting out of a boat, headed towards higher and drier land, still on the move. Thanks for listening. For Scientific American's 60-Second Science, I'm Christopher Intagliata.
This segment of programming sponsored by Cybertime Network Communications. How's your internet? Feeling boxed in with the high costs of the internet? Ready for a better internet service? Then you're ready for Cybertime. Yes, there's an alternative to those big corporate internet service providers. It's Cybertime Network Communications. Cybertime is so good they provide all the connectivity for this radio station. Crisp, cool, fast, and sleek. Cybertime uses the latest leading-edge microwave technology. No wires, no cables, no sharing, and they're able to offer clients a safe, reliable, public or private network that fits almost any budget size. And several cities rely on Cybertime's microwave private network for their most critical mission applications. Get connected. Stay connected. Get smart. Get Cybertime. You can Google, text, or call Cybertime Network Communications at 909-795-9559. That's 909-795-9559.
What if I told you you'd never have to make a house payment again? What if you could pay off much-needed home repairs and even create an income stream based on the value of your home? If you're 62 years old or older, you could be eligible for a reverse mortgage. Call Tim Harrison and find out if a reverse mortgage is right for you. Call Tim at 800-566-2475. That's 800-566-2475.
Tim Harrison, branch manager, NMLS number 170960. Broadview Mortgage Corporation is licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. License number 170952. Registered with the Nationwide Mortgage Licensing System and registry number 813B544. Broadview Mortgage, equal housing lender. Remember, if you never want to make a house payment again, except for property taxes, maintenance, and insurance, that's 800-566-2475. That's 800-566-2475.
Real facts, real lives, real science is what you get when you tune in to Smart Health Talk radio show every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We want our listeners armed with the latest information no matter who we have to call out in the process. No corporate cloaking, no repeats of what you've already heard over and over. We bring what you're not getting from other shows. We're looking for what's having an impact on Americans' lives every day and into the future. I'm your host, Elaine McFadden. I'd like to invite you to learn with us. We're always there with podcasts and videos on KCAA YouTube and iHeartRadio, or live on KCAA Radio, 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Tuesday.
We can't be everything to everyone, or can we? The station that leaves no listener behind, KCAA.
Welcome back. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
And we are on the Brink, the morning show on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and FM 102.3. Boy, it's been a packed show today.
Yes, it has.
It has. So, Redlands, let's bring it close to home for our last article here, or, our last discussion, or one of our last discussions. A Redlands school is getting its parking lot after a fearless 95-year-old passes away. Dozens of 40-foot trees tower over 2 acres of land behind a black and green privacy fence. Look a little closer, and there's a house and stables and some old vehicles and citrus trees. It's not at all unusual, except the property is located in the middle of Citrus Valley High School's parking lot, a football's throw from the Blackhawks Stadium. At age 84, Ellen Disparte had won the right to live there after she filed a lawsuit against the Redlands Unified School District over the use of eminent domain to force her from her family's 100-year-old farm. On January 16th, at the age of 95, she passed away, God rest her soul, and her settlement with the district outlined and as per her settlement with the district, the Redlands Unified School District will soon take over the property, likely by May 15th, and turn it into a parking lot.
So I've got a lot of friends who are commenting on this online, and they were all so happy and so proud of the way this woman stood up to the district to sort of fight back their attempts to use eminent domain to take her property back when they were building the school. And the fact that, this was a 100-year-old family farm, right? And here's an elderly woman, and they were trying to push her off her property.
She'd lived there for 65 years.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. 65 years.
Yeah, I mean, we've been at our house for 20, and I don't ever want to move.
Yeah, well, just because we'd have to clean up all of our stuff.
Thank you very much.
Our garage. We have
Thank
to do that
you.
anyway, Tobin.
Oh, my God. I thought we were going to stay away from the list, Aaron. Okay. No, but a lot of people were really proud of this woman. And, the way that they worked this out was that she basically agreed that when she passed away, they would get the property. And now the question is, what does that mean for her family? How much money are they going to get paid? What is the fair market rate for this? And will they be able as a family to go in and sort of, get their stuff and whatever? And it's fascinating to me. And, if the district takes possession on May 15th, how quickly is all this stuff going to be torn down and turned into a parking lot?
Well, and the thing that strikes me is that, that she has all of these old trees and the citrus trees, the shade trees and the citrus trees. And, that breaks my heart. As we watch Redlands, grove after grove after grove over the last, 25, 30 years have been taken down. It's just sad. It's heartbreaking. I understand that the school needs a parking lot. I get that, and it's not a school where there'd be a lot of walkers. And so people either take the bus or they drive, or maybe their parents drop them off. So I understand that, but it also makes me sad.
Yeah. When you look at the Google Maps picture of it, though, it really is fascinating the way they built this school sort of right up next to her property, and you've got parking lots on both sides. And, I'm glad she was able to keep her property, but I imagine these last few years have been really annoying with the morning traffic and afternoon traffic and the noise and all the stuff. It's probably a very different life for her these last few years than it was before the school was built.
Well, it's the bird's eye view that she's had of the city of Redlands, since 1922 when she was born. Had to have been quite something. Because the transformation of this entire region has been dramatic.
Yeah, no, it really has. I mean, it's very, very different today than it was. I mean, we haven't been here, that many years compared to what this woman was, but I've seen the changes, and it's just amazing.
It is amazing. So I hope her family is well compensated. You know, the way she clung to her land, I respect that too. You know, at 65 years, or after living in a home for 65 years, there's no way I would want to move either.
Yeah. Yeah, especially at that age. That would be really unsettling.
It
right?
would be unsettling. So, you know, there's an interesting story that's getting some serious traction on my Facebook page. Great Britain has appointed its first atheist head chaplain for their National Health Service. So let that sink in for a second. Their head chaplain is an atheist. So
that can't be
it
right.
doesn't make sense.
No.
Now, so the argument that's going back and forth is that the people of faith are saying, how is that even possible? How can you offer me faith about, you know, help me? You think about why would you go to a chaplain for at a hospital? It's because somebody's dying, or you know that you're facing some major. Like death. You're facing death, let's be honest. And, you know, if a person is atheist and they believe that there is no afterlife, how can they offer you comfort and solace? You're going to them for a faith reason.
Yes.
And so now the atheists on the other side are saying, yes, but we're compassionate. We can, you know, provide solace. We can, you know, hold their hand and comfort them.
Well, let's just call that grief counseling and change the label here, right?
Well, and that exactly. And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. I just don't understand why would Britain do that? So Lindsay Van Dijk will lead 3 priests at the Buckinghamshire Healthcare NHS Trust, the first time that Christian clerics have been subordinate to an atheist lead chaplain in the health service. Van Dijk, born in the Netherlands, said, "I'm delighted to have been appointed as lead chaplain and look forward to working with our multi-faith and belief team. Together, I know we can ensure people are able to receive the spiritual, pastoral, and religious care that is right for them. We want patients, their families, and staff across the trust to know they can come to us for support in their time of need, irrespective of faith or non-religious beliefs. Anyone within the chaplaincy team goes to patients to lend a listening ear, to provide spiritual and emotional support, and doesn't specifically say, I'm from this faith and it's not important. We're not there to proselytize our own beliefs." But okay, so if I go to a chaplain, I want him to pull out a Bible.
Yeah. Pray with me.
Pray with me.
Yeah.
So how can I don't understand how an atheist is not going to pray with you. Who are they going to pray to?
Yeah. Exactly. It makes no sense. This is a joke.
It's not a joke.
This is like The Onion.
It is not The Onion. This is from this one's from the Daily Wire. I just don't I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, because at least with you know, if there were a Jewish pastor, you know, comforting a Christian, or Jewish chaplain comforting a Christian mourner, you know, at least there's an idea that there is a God, right? That there's a creator, that there's a person that you would pray to. But an atheist doesn't have that. And so, yes, they can offer the grief counseling. And absolutely, they can do that as well as anyone else.
Yeah.
But from chaplaincy, I just don't get it. So we are at the end of our show for today. I'm Erin Brinker.
And I'm Tobin Brinker.
Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow.